ความรักความอบอุ่นหรือความภักดีมีเพียงหนึ่งเดียวที่ใจคุณต้องเลือกมงคลเมเจอร์ชวนคุณสัมผัสภาพยนตร์แห่งเกียรติยศเข้าชิง2รางวัลลูกโลกทองคำพบโทบี้แม็กไกวร์นาตาลีพอตแมนและแจ็คจิลเลนฮาวใน Brothers เจ็บเกินธรรมดา 7-20 มกราคมนี้เพียง14 วันในโรงภาพยนตร์ระบบดิจิตอลและโรงภาพยนตร์ดิโด
Yeah, sorry for the international trailer. I don't even know what language that is off the top of my head, but I wanted to get a commercial there. I didn't want to go grab the trailer because I know that's going to get copyrighted, but then again, something else in this video will probably get copyrighted, but it's funny because this is not the first thing that was named Brothers in the fall of 2009. There was a show on Fox, a sitcom, which starred Michael Strahan, formerly of the New York Giants, and also featured Dule Hill from Psych. I believe it was him or somebody else. I can't remember, but I could have sworn it was Dule Hill. But yeah, this is not the first thing to be named Brothers, but this one at least has some more memorability than that show did. But this is a movie where you have, it's basically taking inspiration from the epic poem of Odyssey by Homer. Not Homer Simpson, but Homer's Odyssey. And this is a remake of a 2004 Danish film of the same name, in which you have a USMC officer captured by the Taliban, played by Tobey Maguire. He's presumed killed in the war in Afghanistan, and upon being rescued and reunited with his brother, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and his wife, Natalie Portman, he suffers from severe PTSD, and he struggles reintegrating into society. So, it's a post-traumatic stress disorder storyline here, and this is one of those movies where it's not bad per se, but you could definitely tell it was a movie that was trying to go for Oscars. I mean, you know, this is a movie where Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, especially Tobey Maguire, is doing the best he can to try to get an Oscar here, and it doesn't really work all that well. There are times when his performance works, and his performance overall makes sense. He's a guy that's suffering through PTSD. Of course he's going to have those situations where, you know, he's gonna not think straight overall, and it definitely shows in this movie. But there are a lot of uncomfortable moments in this movie, and the film itself isn't really all that memorable, except for a couple of lines here and there, like when Tobey Maguire has his big meltdown. You know what I did, like that scene, and there's one line from the daughter that I always remember, mostly because for some reason on social media, whenever Damar Hamlin does something wrong for the Buffalo Bills, they go to the clip from this movie where the daughter is like, "Why didn't you just stay dead?" Like whenever Damar Hamlin messes up or something, and I can't remember who it was that was on there, but he does it. They do it every once in a while. If Damar Hamlin does something that hurts the team overall, you see that clip on there. "Why didn't you just stay dead?" Like, it's a harsh scene, too. Like, when you have a little girl saying, "Why didn't you just stay dead?" I mean, that's the kind of stuff you keep inside of you. You don't let that stuff out, because that leads to a lot of conflict overall. But, the film overall isn't terrible. They got good people behind it. Jim Sheridan, who did My Left Foot and In the Name of the Father, and David Benoff, who's written a couple of other movies we've talked about here, Stay, which is kind of an underrated movie overall. And he's written some other stuff, too. Most notably, he's one of the guys behind Game of Thrones. And the acting overall does work. I mean, it's not a bad movie per se, but it definitely is one of those give us awards type of movies where you can just tell they're trying so desperately hard to get that Oscar, and they're just not going to get it here. And like I said, not a bad movie, but not a great movie either. Kind of a mixed bag. For one-time watch, I think it's fine, but other than that, though, you're never going to want to watch it again after that. Certainly, you'll want to watch it more than our next movie, though. Matt Dillon starring in Armored.
Is to protect it.
Tomorrow we're going to be transporting $42 million.
Their plan is to steal it.
We're going to take that money.
Are you crazy? On December 4th, only one of them will walk away.
Promise me nobody gets hurt. That's a promise.
Who will be the last man standing?
Stop!
Armored, rated PG-13.
So you have a war veteran played by Columbus Short, hired to work as the security guard by the Eagle Shield Security, where his old friend Mike Colcherone, played by Matt Dillon, weird name, works. And Ty is having financial difficulties after the death of his father and raising his brother Jimmy alone. He teams up with Mike's brother-in-law Baines, played by Lawrence Fishburne. And they're co-workers, and they basically decide, Mike invites Ty to join in on the robbery of two armored trucks transporting $42 million. The reluctant Ty accepts after Mike promises that nobody will be hurt in the heist. Well, gee, clearly that's what's going to happen in this movie. I mean, why else would they even bother doing this? Why even have the movie if that's not going to happen? I mean, spoiler alert, that happens here. And for this director, this is directed by Nimrod Antal, who did Vacancy, which was a really good movie. And then the following summer, he'll definitely have a much better movie in Predators. But this, yeah, you can put as many notable people in here as you want to. Matt Damon, Matt Dillon, John Reno, Lawrence Fishburne, Emery Nolasco from Prison Break, Milo Ventimiglia, Skeet Ulrich, Columbus Short, Fred Ward. You can put all those guys in there if you want to. But can you have a better script than just, you know, a generic ass heist thriller? I mean, the best heist thrillers have at least an edge to them that make them kind of unique and make them stand out on their own. But this is by the numbers. This is a film that you've seen done to death before so many times in the past, and it just doesn't deliver here, man. This is just not a very good movie overall. It just really is the type of movie that you expect to see on the weekend after Thanksgiving. The studio doesn't believe in it, and they push it off to Thanksgiving. So hopefully that when it fails, everyone can just say, well, it's not our fault. We put the movie out after Thanksgiving. We really thought it was going to be successful. And, oh, funny thing happening on this movie, too. The film accidentally got released on the PlayStation Network free of charge when the movie was out in theaters. And even though they spotted the mistake, it was downloaded thousands of times before the error was fixed. So people had already seen the damn movie before this thing could have a chance to make any money back, which it did not. And, yeah. And they were probably very disappointed with the end result of it. I'll just say that. So with all that said, that's Armored. Let's get to some good movies finally. Let's get to the movies that you want to see. The movies that are very, very good. And this is definitely one that's very, very good. Everybody's Fine.
Want to get some expensive bottles of wine. I want to make a good impression on my children. This isn't for children.
Every year, Frank's kids come home for the holidays.
Dad, I can't get away this weekend.
But this year, everyone is canceling.
We're not going to be able to make it this weekend.
And no one will say why.
I'm sorry, Dad.
Sometimes, the only way to get the truth is to go out and find it.
They all canceled on me on the last minute, so now I'm going to surprise them. I want to see my son.
Very good.
Know what he does?
Absolutely no idea. Thank you. Next.
What do you think of my work? You've been looking at it ever since we left the station.
The wire?
I ran 1,000 miles of wire a week, non-stop. All for my children. Million feet of wire to get them where they are today.
Oh my gosh.
Look at you.
Come on, Ingrid.
Oh, it's got a handle.
Of course it's got a handle. I can't believe it.
Surprise.
What are you doing here?
I came to spend some time with my son, the conductor.
Hi, Dad.
This is where you live?
No, this is an elevator.
Very good.
I don't know how to use chopsticks.
You like making fun of me, don't you?
Yeah, you're funny.
Yeah, funny, huh?
A journey he never expected to make.
Never said I was conducting, Dad.
But the drum? What happened? What are you hiding from me, you and the others? I don't know what to say at all.
Became exactly what his family needed.
I don't know what it is with you kids. You always told your mother everything. You never told me anything.
We'll tell you the good news and spare you the
Tell me
bad.
the bad news as well as the good news from now on.
Mom used to say, make your dad proud. And I know you're not proud of me.
It's not true.
Sometimes I pick up the phone to dial a number, and then I remember.
Keep calling next time. The number's still the same, and I'm still on the other end.
Okay.
You lock yourself out, honey?
My son lives here. I'm just waiting for him.
You want to see my leg?
Want to see mine? I want to get us all around the same table.
Like we used to at Christmas.
Together, everybody together.
Hey!
What?
Robert De Niro, Drew Barrymore, Kate Beckinsale, Sam Rockwell.
As long as you were happy, I'd be proud of you no matter what you did.
Everybody's Fine.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Once again, I make another big mistake. I thought that Edward Norton was the son in this movie, but no, it's Sam Rockwell. I mean, well, at least this time I was close, because Sam Rockwell and Edward Norton are similar to one another, but maybe not. Just go with it, okay? I've got a really good movie here to talk about. Robert De Niro stars as Frank Good, living by himself in Elmira, New York, a recent widower with heart trouble and retiring after a factory job he's had, and proud of having pushed his adult children towards success. In the summer, all 4 kids bail on a reunion, so against doctor's orders, Frank decides to surprise each of them with a visit. He sets out to see his artist son in New York City, played by Sam Rockwell, his daughter, the ad executive in Chicago, played by Kate Beckinsale. His son, the conductor on tour and presenting in Denver. Actually, that's Sam Rockwell. It's weird because the trailer only shows like 3. The poster only shows 3 of his sons. So who's the 4th son? It's been a while since I've seen this movie. I thought there was more. I could have sworn it was just 3. Yeah, I completely forgot about the fact that we don't see David until very late on in the movie. Even though in the movie he's the first person that he goes to see, and he's not there, and he wonders if David's in trouble or something like that. But yeah, that he doesn't come into play until later in the movie. He's played by an unknown actor that I thought looked familiar, but I'd never seen him before. Austin Peasy, I think it was. But back to the plot here. His son, the conductor on tour, that's the one who's played by Sam Rockwell, and his daughter, who's a performer in Vegas, played by Drew Barrymore. None are as he imagines or hopes. Will they let them see themselves as they are, or can he adapt? This is a really good movie that kind of came and went when it came out. It was a movie that, it literally went straight to DVD in other countries like Brazil, Russia, and Japan. It's actually based off of an Italian film called Everybody's Fine, which was released in 1990. And it's a really good movie. It's a film that is definitely worth the watch. Robert De Niro starring in a very good, underrated performance in this. You get to see a lot of really good actors in here doing some great work here. Drew Barrymore, Kate Beckinsale, Sam Rockwell. Austin. These other characters in here too. You have Melissa Leo in here, Catherine Money from The L Word. Austin Lysy is his name. Austin Lysy, Lysy. That's the David. That's the fourth son in here. Fourth kid in here, I should say. But yeah, it's a very good movie. It's a very nice comfort food movie. It reminds me a lot of Paul Newman's Nobody's Fool. It very much feels like that type of a movie. Like, it felt like that type of a film where you have a seasoned veteran actor at the forefront of it, and you have all these other performances coming into play here, and all of them do a pretty good job of keeping up the pace with the leading star, with the veteran actor there. And for Robert De Niro, it's a very good, charismatic performance that really just show the guy still has what it takes, man. He was really good in the film. It's an easy watch to sit through. It's only about an hour and a half long. And it is a good, heartfelt storyline here. I don't really consider it to be like a Christmas movie, kind of. But it's a really good movie regardless. It's a film that, like I said, I haven't seen in a while, but I've watched it so many times before when it was coming out on DVD. It was a movie that I really fell in love with right from the get-go. Was not a big hit when it came out, and this is, again, another example of why it's great to have a show like this, because they get to talk about some underrated gems like this. This is definitely one you want to seek out. Everybody's Fine. I think it's more than just fine. I think it's actually a really good movie that not a lot of people got to see the first time around, and hopefully it's found its audience over the years, but if not, definitely seek it out. It is definitely worth the watch, so. With that said, let's go ahead and get to easily the best movie of this week, and that's Jason Reitman's latest film, that's Up in the Air.
I type with purpose.
Last year, I spent 322 days on the road.
You're awfully isolated the way you live.
Isolated, I'm surrounded.
I'm Alex.
I'm Ryan.
What kind of relationship do you have?
Casual.
Sounds pretty special.
I am a passenger.
What are you doing this weekend?
You want me to be your date to your sister's wedding?
It's not like I know her that well.
Up in the air, rated R.
Well, it's better with company. Everybody needs a co-pilot.
That was a nice touch.
Thanks.
Theaters Friday, December 4th, everywhere Christmas Day.
Another reason why Jason Reitman is one of our great directors, man. A guy who can take these different types of movies. He can do something like Juno, and then Thank You for Smoking. But then he goes back to doing something. Then he goes to do something like this, and it really does show that he has a lot of range as a director. The story here centers around a traveling corporate downsizer played by George Clooney as he comes across all these different characters played by Vera Farmiga, Anna Kendrick, Jason Bateman, and Danny McBride, and he falls in love with Vera Farmiga in the process. And we get it. George Clooney's one of our great actors, and he's great in the movie too. He really is definitely as good as advertised. I mean, he really is the focus of the film, but a lot of good things come out of this movie, man. Not just Jason Reitman, but, Anna Kendrick. This was the movie I think that made everyone come to the realization that maybe the actors in Twilight aren't bad at all. Maybe they're just stuck with a terrible, terrible script overall. Which it turned out to be true, because not only did we have Anna Kendrick doing that, but we also had Robert Pattinson branch out after Twilight, as well as Kristen Stewart. I mean, but Anna Kendrick really is the spotlight of the movie. She really does steal the film. She's great in the movie. You know, the rest of the cast overall is great. Vera Farmiga, Danny McBride, Jason Bateman, J.K. Simmons, Zach Galifianakis. A strong, strong cast overall in this movie. And it delivers everything it promises and then some. It's a really damn good movie. It's one of Jason Reitman's best movies, showing that he's one of our great directors, and everybody in here plays their parts very well. What more can you say, man? Up in the Air is a fantastic, fantastic film. I can't recommend it enough. One of the best movies of the year, easily. So, how do you follow up one of the best movies of the year? Wrap it up with a comedy that is more than likely going to end up as one of the worst comedies ever made. From the same guys that gave you Dorm Days, here's Transylvania.
At the start of the new moon, I was absolutely positive of 3 things. First, Radu was a vampire. Second, my one birthday wish was to feel his kiss. And third, nothing could prepare my friends and I for our semester abroad in Transylvania.
Comedy.
Hey, I get to pull out that chestnut again. It's been a while since we've done that. But in a year where we've had some really, really bad comedies, behold our first Twilight parody. I mean, technically, it's not really a Twilight parody, but, I mean, come on. The opening of that trailer there is pretty much a straightforward Twilight parody. But moronic American students Rusty arranged a student exchange program for his closest friends and him to study in Romania for 6 months and meet his internet girlfriend, Draguda. He travels with potheads Pete and Wang, Pete's girlfriend Leah, his twin sister Danny, the naive and romantic Newmar, and his dippy girlfriend Lynn, the nerd Brady and his sexually confused roommate Mike, and crook Cliff. His friends actually intend to party. While traveling by train to Razvan, they learn that 500 years ago, the vampire Radu lost his beloved Stefania, whose spirit was trapped in a music box. Ever since Radu has kept Stefania's body while searching for the music box to bring her back. One of Radu's minions has recently retrieved the music box, but mortally wounded by the vampire slayer Theodora Van Sloan, drops the object in a gypsy's basket. Newmar unwittingly buys the music box and gives it to Lynn, who opens it and is possessed by Stefania. When all arrive at the university, they are welcomed by Dean Flocka, who is a dwarf. Why is he a dwarf? We don't know. Rusty meets Draguda and finds that she has a horrible hunchback. Not only is Dean Flocka her father, he's a psychopath who keeps a torture chamber in the dungeon of the house for his daughter's jittering boyfriends. With Radu on his way, who is identical to Rusty, the brainless American students find themselves in a very messy and convoluted situation, just like this fucking movie is a messy and convoluted situation. But then again, would you expect anything less from the same directors who gave us not just Dorm Days, but Dorm Days 2, College at Sea? We've talked about these movies on this show before. And if you think they've gotten better since then, no, they have not. And I'm pretty convinced that this was supposed to be a sequel to Dorm Days. I mean, this is a film that has a lot of the same people from that movie. I mean, there's a lot of notable names in here from those movies in particular. And this is just one of those movies where it's just like, what the hell were you thinking making this movie? Like, this film is just, if you hated Dorm Days and those movies, you're gonna hate this movie as well. I mean, like, I just don't get it, man. And these writers here, Pat Casey and Warren Miller, I can't believe that these guys would ruin their entire career by making these movies. They're never going to go on to do anything of importance here. As I look at their filmography and I see that they've done Sonic the Hedgehog's 1, 2, and 3, and Violent Night, and also Shotgun Wedding, and also they were behind Golan the Insatiable, and were also involved in Into the Dark. Huh. So I guess their careers did get better after this point. Who knew? I mean, honestly, who knew that? And the Warren Miller guy's changed his name to Josh Miller, too, so I guess that works for him. But hey, there you go. There's some good did come out of this after all. The people that were involved, the writers of this movie went on to become some pretty good writers in their own rights. Look at what they've done with the Sonic films. Look at what they've done with Violent Night. So there is at least somebody who came out of this unscathed. It's like it's not like Soul Plane, where half the cast went on to become big stars in the process. No, this is definitely something where the writers should be eternally grateful that they are no longer associated with garbage like this. Because man, this was a rough sit through. I mean, the fact that the studio thought they had something so big, they put it in 1,000 theaters, and this thing bombed badly. This is one of the worst movies to open in 1,000 theaters. I think it only made $263,000 off of and only made $408,000. I don't know what the budget of it was for, but yeah, this thing did not do very well. $262 per screen average on its opening weekend. That's how bad this movie turned out to be. Yeah. Just a bad movie overall. I mean, but then again, if you've seen Dorm Days and Dorm Days 2, you should not be surprised at all, honestly. Not much more to really add to this, per se, so yeah, you can just say that you wouldn't be shocked at all if I told you to avoid Transylvania like the plague, because, yeah, it's not a very good movie. Not a very good movie at all.
Today marks the beginning of a new era in South Africa, as President Mandela takes office in Pretoria, balancing black aspirations with white fears.
All of the whites are cheering for South Africa. All of the blacks are cheering for England. That must change. Tell me, Francois, how do we inspire ourselves to greatness when nothing less will do it?
What did he want?
I think he wants us to win the World Cup.
This rugby is just a political calculation.
It is a human calculation.
Times change, and we need to change as well. Is this you speaking? Or Mandela?
This is the time to build our nation.
Did you ever imagine this? How could I?
Do you hear? Listen to your country. This is it. This is our destiny.
Invictus, rated PG-13, starts December 11th.
So when you take a look at this movie, you can kind of see the pros and the cons of it, per se, but this is based off the book called Playing the Enemy, Nelson Mandela and the Game That Made a Nation, about the events in South Africa before and during the 1995 Rugby World Cup. The Springboks were not expected to perform well, the team having only recently returned to higher-level international competition following the dismantle of apartheid, the country that was hosting the World Cup, thus earning an automatic entry. Freeman portrays Nelson Mandela, while Damon plays Francois Pienaar, the captain of the Springboks, at the South American Rugby Union team. And again, you can kind of see the pros and the cons in this. Matt Damon is good in the movie. Matt Damon had a pretty good year in 2009 with this and also The Informant. Two very solid films overall, where he really got a chance to prove how good of an actor he is. I mean, he can be very funny in something like The Informant, and here he plays the role of Francois Pienaar very well here. I was actually really surprised at how good he was in this film. But then you have Morgan Freeman as Nelson Mandela, and truth be told, you know, Morgan Freeman, he's not a bad choice for Nelson Mandela. In fact, when that trailer started, honestly, I thought he looked pretty good. He actually looked radically different than what we're used to seeing from Morgan Freeman. And then he opened his mouth, and then it's just Morgan Freeman again. I mean, it's not really distancing itself from the real Nelson Mandela. Or even like when Idris Elba played Nelson Mandela a couple years later in that Mandela Walk to Freedom movie, where he was really good in that film. Morgan Freeman is okay in here per se, but he really isn't distancing himself from the Morgan Freeman that we're used to hearing and playing the character who looks a little bit, looks very different from what he looks like in real life, like Morgan Freeman does. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't really get a good sense of Morgan Freeman as Nelson Mandela because, you know, he looks the part, but he doesn't sound the part per se. It's like when you see what was the bad Pink Panther movie? Where do you go with that one? Curse of the Pink Panther, where, you know, David Niven was in that movie, but they had to replace his voice with Rich Little. I think it was that one, or it was Trail the Pink Panther. Like, yeah, you see the actor there, but the voice doesn't sound right here at all. I mean, here it sounds like that too with Morgan Freeman. It's just like, yeah, the look is there, the voice is not. Like, I didn't really hear much of an accent coming out of Morgan Freeman's mouth in general in this one. I don't know. Like I said, it's not a bad movie per se. It's just kind of their movie where I think the real bright spot of the film is Matt Damon. Matt Damon's the one who's really giving it his all in this film. But other than that, though, it's fine for what it is. Passable. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too amazing. So yeah, there you go. That's Invictus. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Colin Firth and Julianne Moore in A Single Man. I know what you're thinking. How can they make a sequel to A Serious Man already? It only came out 2 months ago. That's what I thought when I saw the title for this. It's just like, how do we go from a how do we go from a serious man to a single man? Granted, that's basically what happens at the end of A Serious Man, but obviously these two movies are not connected in any way, shape, or form. But you have Colin Firth starring as George Falconer, a depressed gay British university professor living in South Carolina in 1962. And it is what it is. It's your typical awards movie. Like, it's a film that you know is going for the big awards contenders. And this thing did get several Oscars in particular. Oscar nominations, I should say. I believe it did. Well, maybe not. Maybe it didn't. I guess maybe people saw through it, but actually, no. Colin Firth did get an Oscar nomination for this. He didn't win, of course, but he'll win it the next year for a lesser film of his, but we'll get to that later on. But this is a movie where I think it's it's one of those style over substance movies. The movie does look pretty good. It's a period piece taking place in the 60s, and this guy who's never directed before, Tom Ford, who's a fashion designer, I thought he did a pretty good job of handling the direction overall. The script is where it kind of falls apart. It's kind of a generic movie. There's nothing about it that really makes it stand out or anything unique in general. It's just not really there in terms of the scripting department. But the performances are good enough. Colin Firth and Julianne Moore, I think, do give a solid performance in this. And this director, Tom Ford, I think does a very good job of handling it overall. And I think it is a very solid film. It's a very solid idea in general. But other than that, though, he did do one other movie, this director, Nocturnal Animals. Is that the one with... Yeah, that's the one with Amy Adams that came out a couple years later. Actually, that one was really good. I remember liking that one a lot. But this one, again, it's mostly style over substance. The movie looks great. The acting overall is pretty good. The film, so-so. Mixed opinion, but it's good for a one-time watch, I guess. But I'm never going to want to watch it again. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next film. Peter Jackson's latest movie, certainly a different movie from his other blockbusters. This is The Lovely Bones.
I like you as much as you like him. Grandma, would you please just drop it? Bye, Dad.
Bye, Susie. You are beautiful, Susie Salmon.
I was 14 years old when I was murdered.
Very sorry.
Dad, she's dead, isn't she? I was in my own perfect world. You must be ready. Almost. My father tried to solve my murder.
There's definitely something wrong with this guy.
But he couldn't make the pieces fit. He needed my help.
You miss her, don't you?
She's gone.
What if she's still here?
Come on, face me!
The truth cannot be hidden. Dad!
The Lovely Bones, rated PG-13, in select theaters this Friday.
Yeah, this was a really, really weird movie indeed. A movie that looks pretty good, and you know, it has those impressive-looking imagery, the impressive-looking imagery overall. And it is cool to see Peter Jackson distance himself from his normal movies in general. But the fact of the matter is, the movie really loses it in the scripting and also the huge tonal shifts that take place all over the film. You have a story about a girl played by Saoirse Ronan who was murdered and watches over her family from heaven. She's torn between seeking vengeance on her killer, played by Stanley Tucci, and allowing her family to heal. Her family, played by Mark Wahlberg, Rachel Weisz, Susan Sarandon, Michael Imperioli are in here as well. And again, it's cool to see a different Peter Jackson movie where it's not a big blockbuster or a big special effects extravaganza, even though there is a lot of visual effects, as you see in that trailer there, which do look pretty cool. But again, it's the tonal shifts that really kind of ruin the ebb and flow of the movie. This is based off of a book by Alice Sebold, and a pretty popular book overall, but it's a movie where I don't hate it per se. There are a lot of things I really like about it. I thought the acting overall was really good. Saoirse Ronan, and especially Stanley Tucci, really deliver here. Stanley Tucci's great in this movie. He got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor, and you can see why after you watch it. The visuals overall are really good, and it's cool to see Peter Jackson do something outside of his norm. But it's the script overall and just the tonal shifts, you know, from this happy-go-lucky film to, like, these dark... There's a way to do that, and you gotta balance it out perfectly, and it's really hard to do that. And I thought maybe Peter Jackson could do it, but not in this film in particular. I mean, he is one of the screenwriters on here, but overall, yeah, it's a movie that has a lot of flaws to it. It looks great. A lot of the acting is really good in here, but just the tonal shifts from, you know, the visual fantasy to, like, grisly, dark horror elements, like, not even the kind that Peter Jackson's used to, like going dark just so quickly, and it doesn't mesh well together here, unfortunately. So, again, mixed opinion, leaning more towards a little bit of a positive, a little bit toward of a negative, but mixed review overall, So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie here, the latest film from Broken Lizard, and that is The Slammin' Salmon.
Who is Guy Meat Drapes? What kind of name is that?
It's Metropolis, sir. It's Greek.
This says Meat Drapes.
It's actually pronounced, Metropolis.
Well, why doesn't it sound like that when I say it?
What you pigs are eating is the blackened cod. It's blackened because it's gone bad.
Hey, Rich, tell Dave to cook that swordfish that I caught. It's taking so long! Oh, you have to dominate the swordfish.
Yeah, beating up a swordfish is cool and all, but can you do this to an electric eel?
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
Now that takes real skill right there. Just an excuse to use that clip in general. That's one of the best Frasier episodes, by the way, The Innkeepers, when Frasier bought the restaurant, and he brought everybody in there to help work out in the restaurant. It was just leads to a lot of great moments here. But we're not here to talk about Frasier right now. We're here to talk about the latest film from Broken Lizard, Slammin' Salmon. It's about the owner of a restaurant who holds a contest to see which one of his waiters can earn the most money in a single night. The winner receives $10,000, and the loser receives a beatdown by the owner, played by Michael Clark Duncan. You have a cast that also includes a lot of the Broken Lizard members, including Jake Chandrasekhar, Kevin Heffernan, Steve Leaney, Paul Satir. We also have Olivia Munn, Kobe Smulders from How I Met Your Mother, and the Avengers, April Bowlby from 2.5 Men. This is actually the first time Kevin Hefferman's actually directed a movie before, and coming off of Beer Fest, which was not a great movie overall, this one's definitely not as strong as some of this team's other work. Super Troopers, I think, right now is kind of their benchmark overall. They haven't really been the same since that movie in general. Like, every movie they put out, you expect it to be something really good, and it just isn't there, man. Even something like Super Troopers 2, which I actually did like. Like, I thought that was actually one of the big surprises. It's just something about the Super Trooper movies and what they're able to do with those that just makes it stand out in their own unique way. Those movies still hold up, but this one's not as strong. I mean, Michael Clark Duncan seems like he's having the time of his life in this, playing an over-the-top role, but we've seen so many other movies and shows do this better. This feels like a mix between the movie Waiting and the underrated show Party Down, which is the show where you have all these it's a story about this catering company, and in that cast you have Adam Scott among the cast, along with Ken Marino, and who else is in there? Jane Lynch was in there too. But yeah, it feels like this is a meshing of those two things in particular. But if I'm going to choose which one I want to see, I think I would rather watch Party Down or Waiting than watch this again. I mean, the comedy in here isn't that great overall. Sometimes there's a good laugh here and there, but it's never enough to make me say that this is a film that's worth checking out. It is just kind of like, I mean, I watched it, I didn't really get much out of it per se. I feel like it's a film that could have done so much more in general, but it just isn't there, man. It just didn't feel like it was working in general, and I was really let down by it. So yeah, not a great review for the Slammin' Salmon. Overall, not a very good week for the movies in general. I think if there's one movie I would say it's worth checking out, it's probably Invictus, but even then, it's not that great of a movie overall, but that's easily the best of the 4 movies we have here this week. Or you can just go see Princess and the Frog again. It's coming out on wide release, so yeah, go see that one. What was I thinking? Princess and the Frog is the movie I would see from that weekend in particular. If you could somehow go back in time 16 years ago and go see a movie that weekend, Princess and the Frog is the one I highly recommend. Yeah, I don't know how time travel would work in this case because we don't have time travel now, but if someone out there wants to go ahead and do that, there you go. I just gave you a tip right there. And off that little tirade there, that's going to wrap this episode of Time About the Movies up. Yeah, not a good week for movies overall, but don't worry, though. We are going to make up for it on the next episode. We've got 6 movies, including easily the most anticipated movie of the year. Like, this is the big movie that everyone's been waiting for.
The movie. Oh, not that one! Did you hear about the Morgans? That's a romantic comedy with a cute couple, Sarah Jessica Parker and Hugh Grant. One's an oversensitive lady who cries a lot, and the other one is Sarah Jessica Parker.
And that's probably the most notable thing about that movie.
This is great.
So the story of Avatar is that it's set in the mid-22nd century where humans are colonizing Pandora, which is a lush, habitable moon of a gas planet in the Alpha Centauri star system. In order to mine the valuable mineral unobtainium, the expansion of the mining colony threatens the continued existence of a local tribe called the Na'vi, who are a humanoid species indigenous to Pandora. The title of the film refers to a genetically engineered Na'vi body operated from the brain of a remotely located human that is used to interact with the natives of Pandora. One of them is being played by Sam Worthington. You also have a cast that includes Stephen Lang, Michelle Rodriguez, Sigourney Weaver, Joel David Moore, and Zoe Saldana as one of the Na'vi. But yeah, the film overall was one of those movies that, when it came out, it was definitely one of those movies similar to Titanic. It was a film that had a lot of money behind it. It was supposed to be the beginning of this new groundbreaking 3D technology. I mean, the whole idea of digital 3D wouldn't have even existed pretty much without this movie in general. They were doing it, I know they were doing it years before that, but this was the first, they were making this movie well into like the mid-2000s, before digital 3D became kind of the norm in general. But I mean, this is a movie that James Cameron put a lot of time and effort into it, and this is definitely one of those movies that I really do go back and forth on a lot. Like, most people, when I saw it back then in 2009, I did like it, but in the years after its release, that legacy and that groundbreaking aspect of the film kind of immediately went away, and about 6 years after it came out, I was really questioning whether or not, did the movie really have that much of a lasting impact at all? I mean, yeah, it was a box office hit, and did eventually go on to surpass Titanic as the highest-grossing movie of all time up until The Force Awakens came out 6 years later. But did it really have that much of a lasting impact? It felt like after 6 years, that buzz and all that memorability of it kind of went away in general, and mostly because it took a long time to get the sequels coming out, and we didn't get the sequels until 13 years after this movie came out. So that should tell you how I was feeling about the lasting impact of this going forward. But it proved to be successful enough for Disney to say, we want our own Pandora inside of Animal Kingdom. I mean, that Animal Kingdom is not a place that a lot of people go to. And sure enough, that's one of the big new things they've added as of late. And, you know, I'm not a big Animal Kingdom person in particular, but when we went down to Disney, when I think it was like a year or so after this opened, I was actually really impressed with the amount of people in there, impressed by the area. But then again, it's Disney. I mean, you go in there, you're going to have a lot of people there and pleased with what they're seeing. They're paying a lot of money to be down there, so you better damn well impress them. And there has been a legacy built for this since then. So yeah, it has found its legacy overall. It mostly just comes down to the sequels getting promised for years, and they kept getting delayed. And honestly, if Disney hadn't bought Fox in 2017, I think we'd still be waiting for the sequels. They'd be like the Duke Nukem of movie sequels, and it's just like, they keep saying it's going to happen, and when it finally comes out, it's a very underwhelming movie that doesn't deliver on everything it promises. And seeing as how, you know, we just had The Way of Water a couple years ago, and this year we're going to have Fire and Ash, the third film, I mean, does it hold up? And I will say, for the most part, it kind of does. I mean, the visuals of it still do hold up after all these years, and really, they're the best thing about this movie. Pandora, I think, is just an amazing-looking world in general. Very stylized, very unique, very immersive. It is a really impressive movie, and impressive world that we're looking at here. And I think the movie's biggest fault is the premise. It's the story. It's a story we've seen done over and over again. The natives going after the greedy villains who want nothing more than to be rich snobs. It's a story that has been done to death. You gotta have the big liar revealed scene where it's revealed that Sam Worthington is actually working for the bad guys, and Zoe Saldana, who had fallen in love with him, with the Sam Worthington Na'vi character. It's just like, I trusted you. It's just like, come on, man. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense overall. It's just like, you know, the third act breakup, and yeah, I just criticize Zoe Saldana on that, but just to be so distraught and devastated when the shit comes out, it's fine, no, but we've seen this done so many times. It's not shocking or enjoyable whatsoever, and yeah, the biggest fault of it is the script. The script overall is the weakest part. It's basically what everyone was making fun of it for. Dances with Smurfs. I mean, I'll never forget the South Park episode where, you know, Cartman was getting on Wendy's nerves so much, and Cartman made that documentary about the Smurf. It's about living with the Smurfs, and then Wendy said, "I've already made a better version of it. It's in theaters now, and it's called Avatar." And Cartman goes to the movie theater, and he's just coming out like, "You sons of bitches! You stole my idea! My idea!" And like, it's a great episode. It's a really funny episode overall, and yeah, it was a right parody of Avatar. It was the best parody you could do with it overall. But this is a weird movie for me to talk about overall in terms of, you know, I've criticized a lot of movies where the visuals are easily a whole lot better than the actual movie. Yeah, I always said it. Visuals don't always make the movie. This and The Way of Water may be the one rare exception, I would say. The visuals, I think, are more than enough to salvage the film along. Kind of like with The Way of Water, too, which I kind of felt the same way. The story, the scripting overall in these movies are not really all that strong. I mean, The Way of Water was just literally the same movie that this one was. I mean, they didn't really do anything new or groundbreaking with it, but the visuals overall are very groundbreaking. That's the one thing I'll give these movies. The visuals... These movies have gorgeous visuals to it, and on a 4K screen, like an HD screen or on the big screen, it makes it worth the watch on that film. So I guess I got to give it that overall, but I still think Avatar is a good movie. Not a great movie. It's a decent movie. It's a very flawed movie, mostly on the scripting overall, but the visuals I think really are enough to carry the load on it. I think it is a film that is one that still makes it hold up after all these years, but at the same time, the scripting really could have been a whole lot better to make this stand out more, and I was really hoping that The Way of Water was going to improve on the story, but didn't really do that per se, so hopefully we'll get that fixed up in Fire and Ash, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. I'm actually kind of surprised that this is coming out, recording this on May 27th, and when Way of Water came out, we already had a trailer out for Way of Water when the Bob's Burgers movie came out 3 years ago, and God, it's already been 3 years since the Bob's Burgers movie came out. I just realized that, but I actually am kind of surprised we haven't gotten a teaser for The Way of Water. I thought we'd get one with Lilo and Stitch or something like that, but I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for Fantastic Four to come out to put the trailer out there. I don't think they're going to put one out in front of Elio, but anyway, yeah. But by the time you're watching this later on down the road, it probably won't even matter. You probably won't even remember what Elio was or Fantastic Four. I hope not. I hope they turn out to be good, but anyway, that is Avatar. Good movie. I mean, it has a lot of groundbreaking visuals, but it needs a lot of help in the scripting department, so So let's go ahead and take a look at the movies that had the balls and the audacity to take on Avatar. Here's their biggest competition of all. It's not the greedy villains who want nothing more than money. No. It's Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker in a shitty comedy.
Okay, where are we on the star file? You can buy and name a star, Meryl. It's $75, and you get a celestial map and a certificate.
If I was really looking for something a little more impressive, can I buy a constellation?
I don't know. You can buy a black hole.
I'm not sure a black hole sends exactly the right message at this point in the relationship.
You have to stop saying things. It's just getting very awkward.
I understand, I will. I just have one more little thing. Dr. Tobin is apparently the best marriage counselor in the city, and the learners recommended him.
They've been divorced for a year.
They have, but the one thing they do agree on is how much they love Dr. Tobin. Do you still love me at all?
I don't know if I can love you a little.
I can get by on a little less love for a while. Maybe years.
I'm sorry. I have to go. But there's my client. What's he doing in the...
Did you hear about the Morgans? This guy's still out there. I recommend you both enter the witness relocation program.
What? I can't commit to spending the rest of my life with my husband.
I know exactly how you feel.
Comedy.
Boy, what a way to end a lackluster year for some really bad comedies. We had some good comedies in there, but there was a lot of terrible movies. And just like how we started the year with films like Bride Wars and New in Town, here's another movie that you've seen done to death before. Did you hear about the Morgans? Or what it should be called, do you remember the movie For Richer or Poorer? You don't? Cool, we're going to make this then. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was the pitch whenever Mark Lawrence, the director of this, went to Columbia Pictures. And it's just like, so do you guys remember that Tim Allen, Kirstie Alley movie For Richer or Poorer? And the studio executives were like, what did you say? And probably Mark Lawrence was just like, oh, nothing. Here's my idea that's refreshing and totally new and never has been done before. Stop me if you've heard this plot before. Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker play a couple who is a power couple in New York City on the verge of divorce until they witness the murder of a client from Sarah Jessica Parker's character, and they enter the temporary witness protection program, given new identities, and relocated to a small Wyoming town. Yeah, it's For Richer or Poorer all over again, except Tim Allen and Kirstie Alley are far too busy to be involved in this. So let's get Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker, two people who have no chemistry whatsoever. I mean, good Lord, this movie is awful. I mean, everything that you would think that would come from a movie like this is in here. It's lame comedy, wasted by a lot of good people involved in here. I mean, terrible lines in particular. Like one of them is like the one line I always remember that I always hated was when she's talking to the mayor. It's Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker talking to the mayor and his wife, played by Sam Elliott and Mary Steenburgen. Great actors, but even they can't save the material given to them. Like Sarah Jessica Parker's talking to them and saying like, "Oh, I'm a member of PETA, people for the ethical treatment of animals," and Mary Steenburgen goes like, "Well, I'm also for PETA too, people for eating tasty animals." Don't even bother, comedy guy. This is not your fight here. Yeah, the comedy in here is god awful. I mean, this is a terrible movie. I mean, if they did something new or different with it, then maybe it could have worked, but it's literally the same plot as For Richer or Poorer. It's literally the same story. Tim Allen and Kirstie Alley in that movie were a New York City power couple who were about to separate, and then they got involved in this big thing where the IRS was going after them, so they have to go out to Amish country, and it's literally the same goddamn story, except not in Amish country. No, we got to shed it to Wyoming, and we got to have a murder be the incident here, and they're going to be chased by Michael Kelly of all people, and just another bad example of just how bad this movie is. The comedy in here, like I said, is so terrible. It even has the nerve and the audacity for when the killer actually comes into town. You see that there's a horse costume running around, and so there's going to be a point where Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker have to go inside of there. And you would think that this movie would be smart enough not to do so, but no. There's literally a scene where they're just like, oh, we're never going to wear that. And then later on down in the movie, you see them in the goddamn horse costume. See, look what you did. You killed the comedy guy. I told him to back down, but it's just like, even he doesn't want anything to do with this garbage anymore. Like, if you have to throw in the fucking horse costume to get your lazy laughs out of this, you have failed as a movie in general. I could not believe this was made by the same guy that made Miss Congeniality, 2 Weeks Notice, Music and Lyrics. Like, this isn't a hack writer either, but a hack director either. But lo and behold, as soon as this movie came out, his career went tumbling down because he followed this up with stuff like The Rewrite, and more recently, the Anna Kendrick Disney Christmas comedy Noelle, which was really not that good. It was a really bad movie, and yeah, this is the prime example of what happens when you're trying to go, you know that your movie is bad, and so you don't want to put it out there on a date that you actually believe in, so just put it out underneath one of the biggest holiday release of the year, and just say that, well, it's not our fault the movie failed, it was behind Avatar, like, we couldn't do anything about it, even though we're the people that put it there, and it's just like, yeah, what more do you got to say about this? Did you hear about the Morgans? It should be. Did you hear how terrible this movie is? Or the better question is, you've seen this movie before, haven't you? Yeah, if you've seen other comedies like this, and it just isn't worth it, man. It's absolutely pointless. There's nothing about it that works. Hugh Grant, Sarah Jessica Parker, Sam Elliott, Mary Steenburgen, Elizabeth Moss, and Wilford Brimley deserve a lot better than this pile of garbage. Just the perfect way to cap off a very lackluster year for these lame comedies. Like I said, we've had a lot of good comedies come out this year. Some ones that are big hits, some that are ones you have to seek and find out, like Ghost of Girlfriend's Past and Whip It, among many others. But this one is definitely in that category of stuff like Bride Wars, New in Town, Old Dogs, just really, really bad comedies that you should definitely avoid like the plague. So yeah, that's Did You Hear About the Morgans? And let's go ahead and move on to some Oscar contenders now, because clearly Did You Hear About the Morgans wasn't going to be one. Probably got some Razzie nominations, but not the Oscars, that's for damn sure. But let's take a look at Emily Blunt in the awards contender, The Young Victoria.
Based on a true story. Who controls the younger most? Who controls England? Of the young woman who ruled an empire. You will sign this order.
I will not!
How dare you! And the passion that ruled her life.
Do you ever feel like a chess piece in a game being played against your will?
Do you?
You don't recommend I find a husband to play it for me?
Not for you. With you. Emily Blunt is The Young Victoria. Rated PG. Now playing in select theaters.
You bitch! That's what I was expecting when the guy was told by Emily Blunt she's not signing the paper. He's just like, you bitch! Like, I'm sorry, I had to laugh at that the first time I saw that. It's just like, I mean, what an over-the-top reaction that for a film that's supposed to be historically accurate of the story of Queen Victoria. I mean, stuff like that is really, really stupid, but it doesn't overall ruin the ebb and flow of the movie. This is a story about the early life and reign of Queen Victoria, played by Emily Blunt, and her marriage to Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, played by Rupert Friend. You also have a cast that includes Paul Bettany, Miranda Richardson, Harriet Waller, Mark Strong, Jim Broadbent, directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, who would later go on to direct Wild, Reese Witherspoon, the late Jean-Marc Vallée, who died in 2021 after, Wild was a really good movie overall, and this was a good movie too. It's written by Julian Fellows, who would later find success the year later with Downton Abbey. Yeah, this is a really good movie. It's a period piece movie. It delivers what you expect it to, but the writing overall really is good. And yeah, I've made fun of the acting in here, how over the top it can be, but the performances overall really are very impressive stuff here. Like, it's a really, really impressively put together movie. Emily Blunt really shows she's got charisma as a leading actress. I was actually kind of surprised she did not get an Oscar nomination for Best Actress here. The film did get some Oscar nominations, but Best Actress was not one that, that wasn't there. But the performances overall here are really good. The writing overall is really good. It doesn't pull this, Oscar baitish type of territory where you can just tell that it's just begging for those Oscars overall. They're trying to make a really good movie here, and I think they very much succeeded overall. I think it's a really good movie. It's definitely one you want to check out. Another one of those underrated little gems you kind of forget about when it came out, but it's definitely one worth checking out. I think it's a very good film overall. I like it, The Young Victoria. And speaking of underrated movies, this one definitely is one of my favorite underrated movies of the year. This one I'm looking forward to talking about this one here. Let's talk about the latest film from director Rob Marshall, and that is 9.
Directing a movie is a very overrated job. We all know it. You just have to say yes and no. What else do you do? Nothing. Maestro, should this be red? Yes. Green? No. More extras? Yes. More lipstick? No. Yes, no. Yes, no. It's directing.
Be Italian. Take a chance and try to steal a fiery kiss. Be Italian. Be Italian. When you hold me, don't just hold me, but hold me.
World-class liar, darling. Go out there and lie richly. Lie for Italia.
Man, talk about a movie that severely got overlooked big time. I mean, this film... Well, first off, let's get the big thing right out of the gate. The fact that this is now the second movie in 2009 with the title of 9. The other being the animated movie from Focus Features, which is pretty good too, but... Man, I really love the hell out of this movie. I think it's a really damn good movie, directed by Rob Marshall. The story here is that you have a director, Guido Contini, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, who's facing a midlife crisis, that is stifling his creativity, and leads him into a variety of complicated romantic involvements. As he struggles to complete his latest film, he's forced to balance the numerous formative women in his life, including his wife Louisa, played by Marion Cotillard, his mistress, played by Penelope Cruz, very, very good in this movie. I mean, not just good, but damn, just she is sexy in this movie, man. They all are in this movie, honestly. All the women are. Her film star muse, Claudia, played by Nicole Kidman. His confidant and costume designer, Judi Dench. An American fashion journalist, played by Kate Hudson. A prostitute from his youth, played by Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas. And his mother, played by Sophia Loren, who still looks pretty good after all these years. Like, it's been a long time since we've seen Sophia Loren in a movie, and she was looking still pretty good around that time. In fact, she might still be looking pretty good at her old age, but yeah, this is a movie that I really, really loved. I mean, I remember when Rotten Tomatoes had the consensus out on this, and it said, it has a game, great-looking cast, led by the always worthwhile Daniel Day-Lewis, but Rob Marshall's 9 is chaotic and curiously distant. And I could not disagree more with that last statement. Chaotic and curiously distinct. I really do love the hell out of this movie. I mean, I would actually go as far as to say that this is probably my second favorite movie musical with Chicago in general. I mean, I'd have to double check that. I mean, I wrote this review back in 2009, so maybe I just need to rewatch it. Maybe I need to just think about it again, because we've had so many good musicals since then, a lot of good musicals since then. Maybe I wouldn't put this as my second favorite movie musical, but yeah, I mean, it definitely would be in the top 10, honestly. It'd be right up there with stuff like Grease and Moulin Rouge and also Wicked. I mean, a lot of good musicals. I actually would have to think about it, though. Would it still be in there? But it's definitely very high up there. I think it's definitely a whole lot better than people give it credit for. I mean, the movie overall really is good. The cast overall is top-notch. Like I said, Daniel Day-Lewis, Marion Cotillard, Penelope Cruz, Fergie. I actually thought were the stronger parts of the movie. Kate Hudson was really good. Nicole Kidman, Judi Dench, and Sophia Loren. It has a great, great cast overall. You could tell that it was inspired by, Federico Fellini's 8.5 in general, because this was based off of a Broadway play that was originally taken from the inspiration from Federico I'm losing my toy bone. Moving too fast here. Federico Fellini's 8.5, and it is an impressive film overall. I was actually kind of surprised that Penelope Cruz, of all people, was the only one who got the Oscar nomination for this overall. And I mean, yeah, she's really good in the movie, but I really think it was mostly because she had just won the Oscar the year before for Vicky Cristina Barcelona. But I mean, yeah, I really dug the hell out of this movie, man. Like, you know, the film was kind of trash for the musical numbers. They were saying that they were horribly edited overall. And all I can really say is, where were these horrible edits you were talking about? Because, yeah, the ones that really stood out to me were, of course, Fergie singing Be Italian. You hear it in that trailer there. Kate Hudson does a very good version of Cinema Italiano. Penelope Cruz with the Call from the Vatican song when she comes in for the first time. I mean, that's a moment that just sticks with you, man. I mean, but then again, it's Penelope Cruz in Sexy Lingerie singing pretty good. I mean, this really was a really good film that I just did not get where all this hatred was coming from, honestly. I mean, it's a movie that I think is definitely a whole lot better than most people give it credit for. It's a film that I honestly think is one of the better movie musicals out there. And it is a really damn good movie. Everybody is playing their parts very well. It really is Rob Marshall's second best film behind Chicago. I think it is definitely one of his best movies overall. And a fitting way to end the decade, because he made my favorite musical in Chicago, and this is definitely right up there with some of his best stuff and some of the best musicals out there. It's a terrific film. I can't recommend it enough. Definitely give it a second chance, because it is a movie that definitely deserves a lot more praise than it got early on. I think it's a terrific film. It deserves more attention. 9, I highly recommend it. It's definitely one of my favorite films of the year, no question about it. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Jeff Bridges and his Oscar-winning performance in Crazy Heart.
What's your real name?
I'm Bad Blake. My tombstone has my real name on it. Until then, I'm just gonna stay bad. The Wall Street Journal, Newsweek, and Rolling Stone are raving about 4-time Academy Award nominee Jeff Bridges in the performance of a lifetime. He is phenomenal. It could bring Jeff Bridges his first Oscar.
Never too late, son. Never too late.
Witness a great actor at the peak of his form. So good to be home. Crazy Heart, rated R. In select theaters December 16th.
It's quite fitting that Robert Duvall is in here, because, of course, Robert Duvall won his first Academy Award for Tender Mercies back in 1983, which is very much similar to this particular movie. I mean, it has a very similar storyline here, but it's mostly based off of the life of country singer Hank Thompson, following the story of Bridges as an alcoholic country singer and songwriter who tries to turn his life around after beginning a relationship with a young journalist played by Maggie Gyllenhaal. You also have Colin Farrell among the cast here as well. This is directed by Scott Cooper, who would later go on to direct stuff like Black Mass. And this fall, he's got the Bruce Springsteen biopic, Deliver Us From Nowhere. And, yeah, this is a really good movie. It's a story that we've seen kind of done before, but it really is a film that does showcase a lot of Jeff Bridges' true talents overall. I do like I don't know if if I had to say, like, this is a movie where he got an Academy Award nomination for this. Actually, I am trying to think. What else has he been nominated for? Of course, that trailer came out in 2009. He's actually been nominated several other times for stuff like The Last Picture Show, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, Starman, The Contender, True Grit, Hell or High Water. I mean, if I had to pick the best overall performance of those 7, I think True Grit really is the strongest one of the bunch. Even though I do like The Last Picture Show and Starman and Hell or High Water. And I do like this one a lot. I was thinking maybe that this is probably one of those ones where they're basically giving it to him because of his, acting repertoire and not just the fact that he gave a good performance in here, which they probably could have done here in general. I don't know. I can't remember who else was nominated in this category that I would probably say is better than him. You have George Clooney for Up in the Air, which he was good in that one. Morgan Freeman and Invictus, but then again, it was basically Morgan Freeman being Morgan Freeman. He looked like Nelson Mandela. And Jeremy Renner for The Hurt Locker, along with Colin Firth. So, yeah, maybe he was the best overall performance in that category in general. I think George Clooney would have been a close second, but I do think Jeff Bridges is the one who definitely deserves it. You also have a good song in The Weary Kind, which also won the Oscar for Best Original Song. yeah, it's a movie that is very much a familiar setup in general, but it works because the performances are so good, and you do get captivated in the storyline of this character in general, and it helps with Jeff Bridges being a main focus of the storyline, being the main guy there, giving the strongest performance one of the stronger performances of his career in general. It's hard to believe that this was originally going to be a direct-to-video release. I think Paramount Vantage actually was the ones that were going to put it out direct-to-DVD, and then Fox Searchlight basically picked it up, and the rest is history. So this performance probably doesn't even get nominated if Paramount puts it out on DVD at this point. Basically, pull a nice cue with janky promoters, except this is a far better movie than janky promoters is. But anyway, Crazy Heart's a pretty good movie overall. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here, and that is A Town Called Panic.
Bientôt au cinéma. Préparez-vous pour un spectacle décoiffant.
Petite douche. Haleine d'air fraîche.
Plus terrifiant que Psychose.
Plus impressionnant que la tour infernale.
Oh non!
Plus romantique que la leçon de piano.
Comment vous faites de la musique?
Ah, good old crazy, over-the-top, stop-motion animated masterpiece. I mean, this pretty much is kind of like that in general. So you have a story here about animated plastic toys like cowboys, Indians, and horses having problems too. Cowboys and Indians plan to surprise horse with a homemade birthday gift backfiring when they destroy their house instead. Surreal adventures take over as the trio travels to the center of the earth, trek around frozen tundra, and discover a parallel underwater universe where pointy-head and dishonest creatures live. Will panic a permanent feature of life in this papier-mâché town? Will Horse and his girlfriend ever be alone? Will this movie make any goddamn sense for you to understand it? Probably not, but hey, they've reminded me a lot of Twice Upon a Time, one of my favorite movies of all time, and yeah, this is a film that I was actually really impressed at how much I really liked it. This is based off of a Belgian series of the same name, but yeah, it's a movie that works because the stop-motion animation and just the fact that it goes incredibly insane in parts where you don't think it needs to, and yet it kind of does. And it really does kind of make it work overall. It's a very ridiculous movie, but the animation overall is really good, and it really does make it worth it to watch in the long run. I think it's a terrific film. Very, very bizarre, very strange, but if you like that style of entertainment, like I said, if you like Twice Upon a Time, you're going to love the hell out of this. This is one that I highly recommend checking out, even if you've never seen the original series. You don't really need to in this case, but it is definitely worth a watch. So, anyway, that is A Town Called Panic.
Dinner?
Wonderful.
The Royale?
My favorite.
Wear a jacket.
You wear a jacket. Sherlock Holmes, you underestimate the gravity of coming events. Death is only the beginning.
His power grows daily.
There isn't any time to waste that.
Sherlock Holmes. Starts Christmas Day.
It's 1891 London, and Sherlock Holmes, played by Downey Jr., and his partner Watson, Jude Law, captured Lord Blackwood, played by Mark Strong, after conducting a human sacrificial ritual, and he's sentenced to death by hanging. He requests Holmes' presence on the day of his execution, and warns him that 3 more deaths will occur after his execution that will change the very nature of their world. After his execution, he is resurrected and prepares to exact his revenge on the world. And I guess why this movie confused me so much was because so much is going on that you do get lost at various points during this movie. But then again, it also didn't help that because the dim lights in the theater that I saw this in back in the day were so dim that I almost fell asleep. Not because of the film itself, just because I was tired that day. And I remember that. That's one of the things I remember when I went to the movies to see this for the first time. But in the years since then, it has grown on me. The film, I could see it a whole lot better at home, but at the same time, there's still a lot of stuff in here that's kind of confusing overall. It does kind of, ruin the whole ebb and flow of the film in general. But like I said, overall, I did really enjoy the movie. I thought it was very fun overall. Robert Downey Jr., once again, knocking it out of the park. I mean, this is a guy that was just on such a hot streak at this point in his career. Like, anything he touched turned to gold at this point. I mean, Iron Man, Tropic Thunder. I like him as the soloist, even though that wasn't a big hit. And then, of course, this movie. But, he's really good in the movie, too. Everybody else did their parts okay. Rachel McAdams was pretty good playing Irene Adler. Jude Law, overall, was okay as Holmes. Like, he wasn't bad or anything like that. It's just like, he doesn't leave much of a lasting impact overall in here. I think the production design overall is incredible, and the visuals are top-notch. The best thing you could say about this movie is that this film has a slick style that fits right into Guy Ritchie's directorial style. Like, when he's fighting the guy inside the cage, he's thinking about all the different ways he could hurt this guy and win the match. Like, it's in slow motion, too. Like, it doesn't feel like you're losing any of the muster there. It's not like Zack Snyder's slow motion. Like, you can see and feel every bit of the action going on, and it never bores you. It never gets you on the edge of your seat. It's just like, it never gets you off of the edge of your seat. It still keeps you captivated all across the board. I mean, I think the ending overall, which was very much a controversial cop-out by most people at the time, I thought it worked overall. If the one thing I could say about the film doesn't really work overall, it's surprisingly Mark Strong. And Mark Strong can be a really good actor, and I've seen him in a lot of other movies, and a lot of movies where he's playing the villain, where I think he's done a better job. But, I mean, when I'm thinking that Andy Garcia, I'm thinking it's Andy Garcia and not Mark Strong, and I feel like Andy Garcia probably would play this a whole lot better. That's kind of a problem altogether with the film. And, yeah, like I said, a lot of the times the visuals are great, but then there's one time when they're in the slaughterhouse and the building starts to explode, and you can see Watson getting hit the most, and it's just like, you gotta think to yourself that that guy's dead, because he's literally sitting there. You see it in the trailer where, he's telling Holmes, he's like, Holmes, and then the thing explodes, and, like, he's literally in the back of where the explosions start. Like, that guy should be dead. But no, an officer says, Watson's alive. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, there's no way you can survive a blast that huge. I mean, you're not V from V for Vendetta. I mean, when you're blowing up Big Ben. But then again, maybe Holmes and Adler shouldn't have been able to survive either to begin with. But still, you gotta have a movie here. And, yeah, it's definitely a very flawed movie overall. It's not a great movie per se, but it is a film where I have come around to like it more than I thought I could. I mean, I liked it enough back then. Didn't really give it too much thought afterwards, but watching it again recently, yeah, there was still a lot that I do admire about it overall. So it is a good film overall, just not the great film I think everybody else makes it out to be. And it's not that the movie is bad per se, it's just like way too much goes on in here. But unlike the next movie where we're going to take a look at, where so much is going on in there that it doesn't make any goddamn sense, this movie is at least trying and actually does succeed for a number of different occasions. Like, I still think this is one of Guy Ritchie's stronger films, though. This is right up there with stuff like Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Rock and Rolla. Even Aladdin, I'll throw that in the same category here. But, yeah, I like this one. I like this one enough. The second one, not so much. And they've been talking about doing a third one with the guy who did Rocket Man, but that's been talked about now ever since they were talking about ever since the second one came out. And, yeah, I think the second one kind of killed any buzz for a potentially good Sherlock Holmes movie at this point. But again, they could still probably do it, but then again, I would be better off if they probably didn't do it at this point, because it's too long in time for another sequel in general. At least that's my personal opinion on that. But still, I think this one's good enough to watch overall. It's still a fun movie overall. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the black sheep of the weekend, the worst of the films that we have here, and that is, of course, Alvin and the Chipmunks back in one of the worst sequel titles you will ever hear in your life, The Squeakquel. Yeah, it's probably not a good sign when I just showed you the best thing about this goddamn movie, them singing the 20th Century Fox logo. I mean, if that's the best thing that this movie has, then, boy, we're in some big trouble here. This is Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Squeakquel, which, yeah, terrible title. I've said my piece on that, but yeah, I've said before that I didn't mind the first live-action Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. It's no classic, but it was at least a tolerable movie. But this is where the shit literally starts to hit the fan. Cue the airplane clip. But in this movie, you have Dave ending up in the hospital following an incident at the VH1 Save the Music contest, where the Chipmunks, voiced again by Justin Long, Matthew Gray Gubler, and Jesse McCartney, are performing. While in the hospital, Dave enlists the three Chipmunks into school and puts their Aunt Jackie, because heaven forbid if we put in Miss Miller, or, keep any references from the television show in there, and her grandson Toby, played by Zachary Levi. Pretty crazy, but, yeah, doing a god-awful Dane Cook impersonation and acting more like Shazam and the Fury of the Gods than Shazam in the 2019 movie, to take care of them. At the same time, their former producer Ian Hawke, played by David Cross, tries to get his revenge on the Chipmunks with a different trio of Chipmunk singers named the Chipettes, voiced by Christina Applegate, Anna Faris, and Amy Poehler. That right there is problem number one with this movie. Yeah, it's cool to see the Chipettes in the movie, but at the same time, like, why are they voiced by named actors who are never going to be on the poster for this? Nobody's going to even recognize them per se. Like, it's just, like, it's Christina Applegate, Anna Faris, and Amy Poehler. Like, at least with the first movie, and the Three Chipmunks, Justin Long, Matthew Gray Gubler, and Jesse McCartney, it makes sense because, you know, of the names there, Justin Long's probably the biggest one of the bunch. I mean, Jesse McCartney is not even that popular at this point in 2007 when they were casting this, but Justin Long, he's not like a big leading name actor that's going to sell the tickets in general. Like, he's the biggest name of the group, but he's still more like that character actor that we saw back before he became kind of more of a prominent leading actor. I know he's been in a couple of leading roles since around that time, but this is still like relatively small stuff compared to this. But this time around, you got three notable names in this movie. Christina Applegate as Brittany, Anna Faris as Jeanette, and Amy Poehler as Eleanor. And it's just like, why? Like, why have these names there? Especially since all you're going to do is speed up their voices, and it's just like, what's the point? Like, why are we even doing this? Like, why are we even bothering to have these big names in this movie? To have these as the Chipmunks? It's just like, again, you're not going to put this on the poster. No kid that's going to be a fan is going to want to go see this movie. It's just like, ooh, Christina Applegate's in here, Anna Faris, Amy Poehler. Like, you think the parents are going to look at this and go, like, why are they, is it be like, ooh, I can't wait to see these three in here. It's just like, no, it's neither of them are going to be that way. It's just like, this is just one of the most pointless voice additions that I've ever seen for a film like this. There is no reason why Christina Applegate, Anna Faris, and Amy Poehler should be casted in this. None at all. Like, you could have just gotten Ross Bagdasarian and Janice Carmen to do these voices again, and it would have been fine. But no. We got to be hip to the kids, because clearly they're going to understand this movie here in general. Which, brace yourself for a really, really unpleasant experience, because let's talk about the many subplots in this movie, and I'm not even kidding. There is a ton of subplots in this movie, which, first of all, you have Dave getting injured because of Alvin's antics, and then while he's in the hospital, he decides to be like, you know, I'm going to put you guys in school, but not a regular chipmunk school. No. We're going to take these little chipmunks and put them into a school with humans. Like, we're going to have them be around with the kids in there who are literally humans, and as soon as they get there, they're like the hot shit. Like, the girls want to bang them, which first off, and then the jocks are just like, somebody's got to take those chipmunks down. It's just like, if you are really that intimidated by three little chipmunks that are about this small, maybe you need to reevaluate your life a little bit. Like, if you are intimidated by chipmunks, little chipmunks of all things, like, just, and that would be enough, but no, the shit keeps getting deeper and deeper, because the bullies beat them up, and then Alvin and Simon beat the crap out of them, like literally rip them to shreds, which is a very funny, dark anime bit of animation there, where they literally are attacking the bullies for beating up on Theodore. But of course, we can't have that one bit of good humor in this movie, because as soon as that happens, the principal, played by Wendy Malick, who is a big fan of the Chipmunks, needs them to help him save the music program, because the music program is about to shut down, and we need to have a big competition or a contest or something like that. But then let's bring in Ian Hawke again to bring the Chipettes in, like, to have them be their successors and have them be assigned in the same school, so they can so Ian can enact his revenge on the Chipmunks, because why not? But then again, David Cross usually is the strongest part of these movies, and sure enough, he is still one of the best things about this movie in general. But if that wasn't enough, that would be more than enough as it is. Because then the Chipettes are trying to warn the Chipmunks that Ian's trying to go get them, and then it's just like, turns out that, yeah, clearly the bad guy is a bad guy. But no, that's not even the end of it all, because we have to have a subplot where Alvin gets to spend more time with the jocks in the school. They went from being like, we need to kill these motherfuckers, to, hey, you're alright, come join us. It's just like, none of this makes any sense whatsoever, and like, it's just like, And the shit gets deeper because Alvin is so important, is so much in line with these jocks that basically he completely forgets about his brothers. They have this ritual where they gotta watch Meerkat Manor, which, yeah, Meerkat Manor was a thing back in the day, you probably don't remember. And Theodore has this fear of eagles because of what he sees on Meerkat Manor, and that's another subplot they added here. Toby, Zachary Levi's character, tries to get the courage to talk to the girl of his dreams, who's one of the teachers there, played by Angela Johnson from Mad TV, who works at the school now, and, he's the socially awkward guy, and I'm socially awkward too, and I could beat the shit out of this guy. And, there's a subplot about how, their aunt is basically out of the picture pretty quickly because Toby's a klutz, and he's kind of an idiot, and, as I said, the Chipmunks are attempting to save the music class.
Shut up! Oh my god, I don't care!
Which is funny, because that's how I feel about people who won't stop bitching and moaning about the Lilo and Stitch remake. Look, I'm sorry that you don't like these live-action remakes, and you just want them to go away, but people want to go see these movies. People want to see these films, and it's a big hit at the box office right now. And if you can't handle that, then just go do something else with your life. Seriously. But back to this movie, there's at least like 10 different subplots in this movie, and it's just like, why do we gotta make this so goddamn complicated? Honestly, like, this movie should not be as complicated as you would think it would, as you see it as it actually is, because it's just like, there's no reason why we have to have all these pointless subplots, because most of them are pretty pointless. Like, what are people there to see? We're there to see the Chipmunks, and we're there to see the Chipettes. And unfortunately, they have them, but they have to have all these different random subplots, because clearly the writers of this movie did not have a script to work with here. And the worst part is, this is not written by hack writers. This is not made by a bad director. This is directed by Betty Thomas, who did Private Parts. She did The Late Shift. She did the Brady Bunch movie. This is a seasoned directing personality who has really made a lot of good stuff in her career. The script was co-written by John Vitti. You killed the comedy guy. Written by Jonathan Abel and Glenn Berger, the guys who made Kung Fu Panda. Like, these are not hack writers. You cannot tell me that these people who have written far better material were behind this and said, this is our best work that we had available to you. No. Because I'm willing to bet you what happened. The first movie was a big hit. The people they didn't have a script ready to go, so they just wrote a random script out. They called John Vitti, they called Abel, they called Berger, and said, hey, can we use your name for this project we've got coming up? They don't even tell what the project is, and they're just like, sure, why not? Shut the phone down. That's why their names are on there, because I refuse to believe that the same people that wrote Kung Fu Panda and wrote for The Simpsons wrote this pile of garbage, because this is a pile of garbage. And one thing I can easily say right off the bat that's good about the movie is that the animation definitely is a whole lot better on the Chipmunks. I mean, you could tell that the budget got a little bit higher with them involved in it, but I mean, most of the music overall is still fun and upbeat. I know it's all different covers and different hits, but at least in the songs, it's still Ross Bagdasarian and Janice Carmen. But other than that, though, there's just nothing here. Everything about this movie is just so bland, so forgettable, just so much of a waste of your time. And it's a shame that the creators of this have let the series gone down to being just complete and utter garbage, but I mean, I'll give it this. It's still watchable than the other films in the series that we're going to get to, because, yeah, it's going to get worse and worse. But unlike the Ice Age movies, where at least some people are putting effort into it, the effort levels in this keep getting lower and lower and lower with each passing film. And it's just like, this is what the Alvin and the Chipmunks franchise has been reduced to, unfortunately. It's just such a damn shame, man. Just such a damn shame. So, anyway, that's Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. I just wasted over 10 minutes of your time talking about it, but I'm sorry. It needed to be said. But let's get back to the good stuff. Let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is It's Complicated.
Jane and Jake used to be married until he cheated with Agnes. Now they're married, but he still has feelings for Jane.
I've never really known how to live without you.
You're not. Turns out I'm a bit of a slut. This is wrong.
I like that you stopped getting bikini waxes.
So wrong.
And just when it couldn't get any more complicated,
You brought me a gift.
How about that, Luke?
it did.
Oh, sorry. I'm not.
It's complicated.
OMG, I thought he'd never leave.
This film is not yet rated.
So this is a film that stars Meryl Streep as a bakery owner and a single mother of three who starts a secret affair with her ex-husband played by Alec Baldwin. It's 10 years after their divorce, only to find herself drawn to another man, her architect, played by Steve Martin. A cast that also includes Lake Bell as Alec Baldwin's new wife, Hunter Parrish, Zoe Kazan, John Krasinski, Mary-Kate Place, Rita Wilson. A really, really solid movie overall. This is a movie made by the same people who did Something's Gotta Give, Father of the Bride, Nancy Meyers, and it's a really enjoyable movie. It's a film that knows it needs to have a good cast overall to give it the oomph that it needs to really be a memorable movie. And Meryl Streep, Steve Martin, and Alec Baldwin, just great names all across the board there, and it just works for them all. I mean, they all play their parts very well. The chemistry between Streep and Baldwin and Streep and Martin work very well. You can see why Baldwin and Martin would later host the Oscars just a couple months later and really knock it out of the ballpark. They were both really damn funny. And the movie overall is really damn funny. It's a really solid movie, and it works because the casting overall is really good. You have a good cast overall, a fun concept overall, and just with the right people involved, you have a really good film that can easily stand out, no question about it. I mean, it's a really good movie. It's a really entertaining film, and it was a massive hit. Played very well, and yeah, it's a great movie. I highly recommend it. It's complicated. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last official release of 2009, Terry Gilliam's The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Nothing's permanent, not even death.
1,000 years ago, Dr. Parnassus made a deal with the devil.
Voila. Voila.
Now, a mysterious outsider will take the traveling show beyond their imaginations.
Can you put a price on your dream?
The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, rated PG-13, starts Friday, only in theaters.
So in the movie, you have a traveling theater troupe whose leader, played by Heath Ledger, has made a bet with a devil, taking audience members to a magical mirror to explore their imaginations and present them with a choice between self-fulfilling enlightenment or gratifying ignorance. And this is a cast where... Well, I'll talk about this first, because the big thing about this movie was the fact that Heath Ledger was supposed to be the star of the movie, but he died 1/3 of the way through the production. Like, the film had to be suspended, and so essentially... what happened was Ledger had completed most of the movie's running time as a whole, but then, you know, they had to do reshoots and all that type of stuff, so they basically recasted his role with Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell doing different versions of his character as they go through transformations of the characters as he's traveling through a different world. So it's a film that is very much a unique experience just for that alone, by the fact that this is one of Heath Ledger's last projects, and you have these three heavyweight actors coming in here to essentially do their takes on his character. You see also that as a cast that includes Christopher Plummer, Andrew Garfield, Tom Waits, Vern Troyer, Lily Cole. So there are a lot of good names in this movie, and the film overall is good. But I feel like it could have been a whole lot better. It really does fit into Terry Gilliam's unique style, unique visual style that we saw in some of his classic films, Time Bandits, Brazil, Adventures of Baron Munchausen, even stuff like 12 Monkeys. Like, he's a good director overall who very rarely misses. And this one doesn't miss. This one is an overall enjoyable film, but I feel like on a story level, this could have been a whole lot better. The story overall could have been much more enlightening and much more engaging. But as it is, it's a good movie. It's a really good film. It has a beautiful visual feel to it. The visuals overall are top-notch. Like I said, it's right up there with some of Gilliam's other works. It's just such a really, really good-looking film overall. Not a great film overall, but certainly a lot better than I think it could have been. Like, let me rephrase that. Like, it's a good movie, but I feel like it could have been so much better. It should have been a whole much better than it actually was, but as it is, a good film. You can definitely see that there was a lot of room for improvement, but as it is, it's a good film. It works for the visuals, it works for the acting. It's fine. It's a fine film, but it definitely could have been a whole lot better. So, there you go. The last film of 2009 and the last film of the first decade of the noughts.